Hey everyone, welcome back to Hawkstack channel. In today's video, we are diving into one of the most important concepts in Linux system administration, that is disk partitioning in RHEL. We will compare and demonstrate fdisk, gdisk, and parted commands, the three major tools used for disk partitioning. Stay tuned till the end to know which one you should use for MBR or GPT setups. So let's start with the basics as to what is partitioning. Partitioning is the process of dividing a disk into logical sections to organize data, install OS, or set up LVM volumes. To know how many disks partitions that I have currently, I can just run this command lsblk to check the disk partitions. So on my disk, I have 4 partitions on BDA. I have I have another partition called BDB. I have BDC as another partition and BDD. Totally, I have 7 partitions here, right? So I can see some of the partitions have been containing some data, and there are some mount points to each of these, right? So today we will be creating uh, so we will be using an empty disk, which is on my system as dev vdb. On your systems, it can be sdb or sda or any one of those, right? So to create partitions, we will be using fdisk command. The fdisk command is simple, interactive, and widely used. It is mainly used to manage master boot record style partitions or your MBR style partitions. So to start using this fdisk, just type in f. So just type in fdisk and the partition name that you would like to. So all my partitions are stored under my dev folder, and I'm going to use vdb with here, and I just press enter. So here it will give us a prompt telling that you'll have to be careful while you're making partitions, because once partitions are made, they cannot it is partitions not irreversible, right? So we can delete them, but that's another process. So we have this m command. We can type this prompt m, so that is going to give us the list of what all prompts that we can use. So here we can use D to delete a partition, capital F to list free unpartitioned space, L to list the known partition types, N to add a new partition, P is here to print the partition table, and T to change the partition type that we have, V is to verify the partition table, and I to print information about a specific partition that we want, right? So these are some of the labels that you can write. To save, we are going to give the prompt W, and to quit without saving, we are just going to use the prompt Q if we have made some changes but do not want that to reflect in our partition table. So this is a small help over here. So since we are going to create a new partition, we are just going to click in N, and this is going to make a partition for me. So it's going to ask the type of partition that I want to do. So primary is, and it is also going to show us that by default, primary partition is the one that I would like, right? So I'm going to choose for primary and then click on enter. The partition number is 1 to 4. By default, we can create 4 primary partitions. So by default, it is going to take it as 1. You can enter 1 and press on enter. So the first sector is always selected by default 2048. You can also choose from which sector you actually want your first partition to start from, right? So in order not to waste any memory space that we have, we are just going to go with the default value. Here it is going to ask the last sector. So this sector is actually going to define my size, right? So I'm just going to type in the size of the volume that I want. So the size of my partition. So I'm just going to give plus, since I have a 5 GB space, I'm going to create a 2 GB partition here, plus 2, and then I'm going to end this with a G. So these are the size formats that I can give. G indicating for GIB, right? K for kilobytes, M for MB, and so on, right? So I have a space of 5 GB, out of which I am creating a partition for 2 GB, and then I type enter. So a new partition of type 1 and Linux file system has been created. So to just print the partition table, I'm just going to give the prompt P, and it is going to show me that device is the device name is dev vdb1. So this is the start point of the partition, this is the end point of the partition, the size and everything, right? And the type of file system that I am using. Now I want to save and quit, so I just type in W and I press enter, right? So now that my partition has been created, it should be reflecting if I press the lsblk command. So I can see that my dev vdb1 is reflecting here. Under vdb, I have a vdb1 partition for which is of 2 GB disk space, right? So now let's so we can see that we have successfully created a MBR partitioning using fdisk. So there's one note that we'll have to make. Fdisk does not support GPT typed partitions, right? So for this, we are going to use the gdisk command. So gdisk is the GPT compatible alternative to fdisk. So GPT supports more partitions and a larger disk space. To get started with GPT partition, just type in gdisk, right? So if you are the normal user, you can give this command using uh, sudo gdisk, and then you're going to specify your empty partition for which you are going to create a GPT partition, right? So I want to create my GPT partition under VDC, right? So I want to create a GPT partition under VDC, so I'll give in dev VDC. So here also we are going to get a prompt. We are to create a new partition, we are going or create a new GPT table. We are going to press the prompt O, and it is going to create a table for me. So it's going to ask, do you actually want to create this table? So just press Y and then enter. So here a GPT partition table gets created, but my partition has not yet been made. To create the new partition, I'm going to press N, and this is going to create the partition number. So it's to create this partition, it's going to ask me the partition number. By default it is 1, so we just type in 1, and then the first sector you can just type in empty or enter. Okay, the last sector, again I also want this to be a 2 GB 2 GB partition, so I just press plus 2 and the capital G annotation and press enter. So current system is Linux. To change the type of file system, you can just press. You can use the hex code, right? Otherwise, you can use the code 8330, which is my hex code for the Linux file system. So it has been changed. Now to write the file system, I can just to print the partition table, I can just type the p prompt, and it is going to give me my partition details. So I have created one partition starting from this sector, ending at this particular sector of 2 GB, right? With the Linux file system type here. So I want to save this, so just type W, and then it's going to ask, do you actually want to proceed with saving? Just give the yes option and press enter. Okay. Now the partition table has, my partition is completed. So just verify this using the lsblk command, right? So I can also see that my VDC has another partition. I have created a partition in VDC called VDC1. So I have created two partitions altogether now. One using fdisk, that is in VDB1, and the other using gdisk command, which is my GPT partition in VDC. So with gdisk, we have created this GPT based partition, right? So now there's another command that we spoke about, that is parted. So parted supports both MBR as well as GPT formats to be uh, created. So now we are going to check how we are going to create partitions using our parted command. And this is going to be a little bit more interactive rather than just a single one line questions that we are going to give. So I want to create a partition under VDD with my parted command. So I'm just going to give the command parted, and then I'm going to specify my VDD, right? So it is going to here I can create. So firstly, I'll have to mention what type of partition I'm going to create. Am I going to create am I going to create a GPT partition, or am I going to create a uh, MBR partition? To create a GPT partition or MBR partition, first we will have to label it using the command mk label. So to make a GPT table, GPT partition, you just need to give in GPT as the command. But if you want to create an MBR partition, just give ms dos. We will so here we will be creating a GPT partition. So let's go with GPT. Okay. So now here we are going to make part. We want this to be as part of a primary partition. So we are going to mk part, and then this has to be primary. We want this to be a primary partition. So set it to primary. We want to set the file system to as ext2 here. So this is just the label. We are not actually creating the file system right now. So we're just going to label this as ext2. I want my ext2 type partition here. So now here comes the part from where we are, from which sector to which sector are we going to create it, right? So I want to create a partition of 1 GB here, right? In my VDD, I want to create a 1 GB partition. So I'll start with 1 MIB. So this is going to be my first sector, and B in caps. And my second sector is going to be 1025 MIB. Right? The size is going to be from 1 MIB to 1025 MIB. Which is exclusive of the 1 MIB and 1025 MIB are exclusive from my uh, memory partition, right? So now it is going to, so now we are going to print the partition table using the print command. So now it is given us here, and now we are going to quit. Our partition has been created, and now we quit. Okay. So here it is going to tell me that you may need to update the etc fs tab, right? This is going to give me some prompt. So just check using lsblk. Has my partition been created? Yes. So see here in my VDB, I created one partition of 2 GB called VDB1. I created another partition under VDC called VDC1 for 2 GB, and I created one partition under VDD called VDD1 of 1 GB. Right. So this is how we are going to create partition, and uh, so here we use parted to create a 1 GB GPT partition. Now we have to also note that we also specified the type of file system that we wanted to create. That is just a reference file system that it is going to ask us. So now let's do a quick comparison as to what are the features of fdisk, gdisk, and parted. So does fdisk support MBR? Yes, it does. Does it support GPT? No, it does not support GPT. It is a little bit interactive because the prompt is we are getting each prompt after the commands that we are typing. So are we able to create scripted partitions? No, we are not created. We are not allowed to create scripted partition. Does it use? Is it available for modern use? No, it's not generally used in legacy systems. Whereas when we come to gdisk, it is not going to support my MBR partitions, but whereas GPT partitions are supported. Uh, gdisk is also an interactive command, so scripting is limited. So we cannot create scripted partitions in my using gdisk. And does it use? Is it used in modern system? Yes, GPT partitions are uh, very much used in modern systems. Whereas when we use the when we come to our parted command, we have all this supports, right? We can create partitions using MBR. We can create partitions using GPT. Yes, the command itself is interactive, and then it allows for scripting partitions. And yes, it is used in modern systems. So for MBR disks, to create just MBR disks, you can use fdisk. To create just GPT disk, you can use gdisk or parted. If you want scriptable commands, then parted is the best, right? So that's a wrap on this video on RHEL 9. Hope you understand the difference between fdisk, gdisk, and parted with real usage. But we are not done here yet. Creating partitions is just the first step. In our next video, we'll show how to mount these partitions so they become usable storage points. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to stay tuned. See you in the next one.